So, hello everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
So-
It's been a while.
Yes, we've been jet setting and
Yes.
being sick.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard 2.0, the revival. In a
Big
world of reboots and sequels,
Big up.
here's another one.
In a world where summer just came, we decided to relax on the sofa.
Although, to be fair, I quite like the idea of us taking the time off before we're anyway big or successful. It's like, right, let's just have a burnout month. This 1 month we're fine. Because if you look at that actually for what we uploaded, we did an episode where we ate pizza and we drank a lot of wine. That was our gap year month.
Yeah, it was a gap year.
Gap year.
We discovered ourselves that we're like, oh, we're actually quite good at this, so we should probably get back to doing movies at some point. We're definitely not good at reviewing wine.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was a great episode, though. Absolutely amazing episode.
That was really fun.
If you haven't, is it live? Is it everywhere? Because Laura's in it for promotion for our Fringe show.
This one went everywhere, yeah.
So if you haven't had the chance, if you go to YouTube/the Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard, which is our YouTube account, the whole video is there and it's absolute glory. It's also on our Facebook page, but the YouTube is probably the easiest place for everyone to access it. So
Yeah, we have a few friends that are performing at the Fringe, so if you're anywhere near Edinburgh, go and check them out, and they're definitely promoting on one of our episodes. So, and we'll definitely remind you of who it is and where to go and stuff. So.
Yeah. I think we'll have a playlist available of the films they're in for our French performers if you want to check them out.
And they're there for the whole 3 weeks, so...
Speaking of which, War with the News.
Yes.
Hey! Amazing.
Is actually happening. It's on for the whole run. It's the whole 3 weeks, right?
At the summer hall. Basement, I think. Yeah.
Just goes to show how hard those people work, because they were talking about it and then they've got it at the Fringe and they've got it all sorted, and we saw them casting for it and they've really got their act together.
In a couple of weeks they open it, right? They're doing it in England somewhere. They were looking for casting for Manchester area, so they were definitely looking to put it on to have a go before they hit the Fringe. So I'm really excited to go and see it actually after meeting the guys. They're really, really cool guys, and the Bin Laden show was excellent. I still think about it when if I'm just thinking about theatre in general, I'm like, yeah, that was really good.
Definitely.
Because I just did an event, Stage to Page, which is in Glasgow, which is an event where new writers can submit their to varying length of script, and they get a chance to see some actors put their input into it, get it up on its feet, so that they can go back and finish it. They just did last month's was in the Tron upstairs where we saw the Bin Laden one-man show. So I was sitting in there thinking about it, I was like, oh, that's a really good show. So I'm very excited to see what they do at the Fringe this year. So
should be good. Check it out.
Yeah, I booked. I'm going to see on the 1st. That's a preview date, 1st of August.
Oh wow!
Yeah, £5. So that's quite cool.
That's quite soon.
Yeah,
That's very soon. It's just a month away.
Very cool.
If that. Okay, so this is a bit different, this one.
Yes, because we haven't put any film in a vault for a while, but today we're bringing a title from that vault to talk about it.
Yeah, I figured I had an idea for this, which was like, at the end of some episodes, we put stuff into the vault, and then every now and again we should go and look at what's in there and go, does it deserve to be here? Shall we make space? Because I think the vault should be limited in a way. Like, you have to sometimes debate, like, oh, should this be in here? Should I take it out? Is it such and such? So, which gives it a bit more gravitas, because we're not just comparing films to each other. I think it's, are we blinded by nostalgia, or does something really still hold up when I've not watched it in years? So today we're discussing, I believe it was Anouk'S entry into the vault, right?
It was.
Yeah, even though Yann brought it into my head again, because I'm not sure what you said, but you said something and I was like, oh my God, that film! That was like my childhood film.
Were we not talking about death or something? I'm sure it was.
Death?
We were definitely talking about that, because it came up to do with the horse, Ajax's horse.
Oh man.
I'm sure that's how Neverending Story came up.
Yeah, so the Neverending Story, directed by Wolfgang Petersen.
Starring
Noah Hathaway, Barrett Oliver, Tani Stronach, Patricia Hayes, Sidney Bromley, Gerald McRaney, and Moses Gunn. It's a lot shorter than I remembered.
Indeed. An hour and a half, max?
Yeah, 90 minutes of very strange, fantastical, lots of, what are they called? Oh, no.
Goblins.
Makeup and
practical effects. Prosthetics.
Prosthetics. Right? And this is way before, like, really complicated CGI and computers. This was brought out in 1984, 85. And so...
Wow.
It was really interesting to watch it on that level because this is way before any of this. And it actually held up pretty well.
So this didn't come out here.
Oh.
This came out West Germany. So this is pre the wall coming down. This is 84. United States and Japan are the countries that this movie came out in, which it was always in English, but it came out in 3 regions, and then probably when it came to DVD,
I mean,
it came out wider. It definitely makes sense that this is a German film because the music is by one of Germany's best synthesizer inspiring music, Giovanni Giorgio, who is the man that inspired a lot of Daft Punk. He's a brilliant electronic music composer.
Very good.
And you can feel that throughout the film.
We can put some links to his music.
That was another thing we were going to announce. I am going to be doing Spotify of certain movies that we review. So I will make a playlist of music that either fits the tone of the movie or is in the movie itself.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's available because obviously we have a spotlight. We're on Spotify as well.
We are on Spotlight. Any casting directors
any
out
casting
there?
directors. That's another story I want to talk about, but we'll get there.
Yes,
I suspect because Wolfgang Petersen, the movie he did 3 years before, a few years before, was Das Boot.
Das Boot?
Yes, so I suspect
Das Boot.
He wanted to do something a bit like fantasy lighter after this heavy World War submarine thingy.
Das Boot is a great movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Das Boot is great.
It lasts like 6 hours. Well, it's long, but yeah,
it's that and Red October. In Search of Red October are the 2 great submarine movies.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one with Sean Connery.
Yes, yeah.
I was taking notes on what is it? The Sicario I was watching yesterday. There is some stuff related to Red October. Very nice.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with, since Anouk put this in the vault, shall we discuss, Anouk, why don't you enlighten me and Yann why this ended up in the vault? Let's refresh the listeners on the reasons this ended up in the vault.
Okay, so you know how you have that film that you forget what it's called or you forget pretty much most of the plot, but there are like a few scenes and a few images that just stick in your mind for like your whole life. This is one of the films that definitely struck me as a kid. And I remember watching it. I probably only watched it less than like 5 times in my whole life. But like Falcor, the image of Falcor, the little boy in the attic, and what else? Obviously, Ajax's death was.
No, it is Ajax. Yeah.
It's Ajax, isn't it?
Ajax is the horse, and it's Atreyu. Atreyu is the boy. Yeah.
So Ajax's death, and for some reason, I felt like really connected to that horse. And then watching it when I was older, I realized that you don't know that horse very well.
It's like in the first 30, 35 minutes of the movie
that it dies. Exactly.
That's the other thing. This film is 90 odd minutes. This is not a long film.
Yeah. No, we talked about that.
Indeed, I just checked. It's Artax.
Artax.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Because
Artax.
I was.
Is it Artax?
Yes.
Right. Artax.
Artax.
No, I in the same vein as I said that I think it was in the Highlander episode. Even though I remember the Endgame film, which is not good, but I've seen it enough that I was able to I had the lines in my head before they came.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them here, even though I haven't watched it that much too, were definitely there.
Really? Wow. Okay.
That's pretty. Wow.
When do you think the last time you watched this film was, Yann? Pre-2000?
Oh yeah. Pre 2000 and okay, let me think because I'm trying to remember if I actually watched it in the original English before. So that would mean that I actually remembered the French lines. I don't remember, but I definitely remembered. I didn't remember any of the plot. I didn't remember it was called Fantasia or there was a nothing coming. I did remember the princess and the wishes. But yeah, when Falcor came out of the clouds and the flying and the getting back at the bullies.
Yes.
I did remember that.
So cute. God. So cute. Yeah, definitely. Falcor definitely was one of them. So it actually shocked me that Ajax and even Falcor are not in it, like, for the whole film. Like, they're actually not in it as much as... and the plot is super weird.
The thing that struck me is that this is the rare occasion I think I've watched a movie and gone, this is like if you adapted a children's story, which is obviously the plot of the movie. It's a book. What's his name? It's not Oliver. It's
Bastian.
The little book. Yeah.
Because he lost his mum. I'm like, what's a child that suffered tragedy in their life called? Oliver, Bastian. They've always got like, you go to names like Tiny Tim, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a book that Bastian's reading, and you're like, this film really does play as it's a book. Like, it really does have that feel to it.
Yeah, for sure.
That you're in a story, which is one of the things I really, really enjoyed about it.
Yeah.
It's because when you read a book, you're always you're getting yourself out there. Well, you're not interacting with it.
No,
Except is that there was a kind of a similar thingy, but with films and Schwarzenegger, Last Action Hero. Which has a completely different feel to it, but a bit similar. It felt. With these days, most movies are above 2 hours.
It's rare, yes. It's very rare for a movie to be to the 90-minute mark, unless it's a specific type of movie. Because I was going to do a blog post actually recently about the 90-minute question, whereas like, are there super entertaining movies that are under an hour and a half that you can just stick on after work and really get involved with, rather than having to sit down and slug through like a bog standard Marvel sort of superhero movie is at least an hour 50 to 2 hours long. Whereas stuff like me and Anouk recently watched that we will talk about one day, Sausage Party. The adult animated movie. Yeah. Definitely not for children.
No, I watched it when it went out.
It
was released.
I think we all went together.
Yeah.
I think we were all there.
At the cinema.
And then...
I totally forgot how shocking the end orgy is. With
Spoiler.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's someone else. But that's 92 minutes as well. But yeah, it definitely doesn't feel it. Compare it to something like one of our most successful episodes, Call Me By Your Name. Is it? I got that right. I didn't say Call Me By Your Name, did I? Is it it's Call Me By Your Name, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Adam.
Yeah.
I always doubt myself with that sort of title. Which is, I don't know, like 2 hours something, right? And it feels like it's 4.
Yeah, it's quite long and slow.
But that works in that film because it's not about the actual length of the film, it's the pacing of the action happening, which makes total sense. You feel like you're going on that journey with them. Where in this film, it's like, it's a book you can't put down, so it feels super quick.
Apparently, Michael Ender, the author of the book that this film is adapted from, hated it.
You see, that doesn't surprise me. A lot of writers hate the film adaptation. It's famously the author and writer, but the creator of The Killing Joke, the Batman novel, graphic novel, hates like any sort of adaptation of his stories because it's like if you write something so much and you give it off to somebody else to like have a creative control over, there's always going to be that, I wouldn't have done that, I would have done this sort of thing.
Yeah. Unless if you're part of the screenwriting process, just like Rowling is.
Yes.
So you get kind of keep the kind of you're the whole knowing person on set.
You're in a role. You're in a capacitated role as a producer. Usually that you'll see that as like the author is involved as a producer. Like you're right, J.K. Rowling. And recently she became the screenwriter for the Fantastic Beasts series. Was that before or after she wrote this worked for the stage play of the show? Do we know?
Cursed Child.
Yeah, because I think that came out first.
The play script, yeah. This came
before the film,
yeah.
So she had a go at like having like writing script as opposed to fiction novel. esque.
I think a lot of authors also aren't producers, and that's actually a really tough. I think a lot of people don't realize that how much work goes, behind the scenes. So being a producer is really tough, and if you're an author, you don't really want to spend that much time, sometimes more than a year, on a film that isn't, that.
Well, famously, Guillermo del Toro, when he was supposed to direct The Hobbit, it took so long for him to get that started that he had to go away on he couldn't commit any more time.
Yeah.
There are varying discussions whether he left or whether he was fired because he wouldn't go the studio's direction. Again, we've mentioned her many times. Lindsay Ellis, the nostalgia chick, did an excellent 3-part series on the whole process of the Hobbit movies, which are available on YouTube. If you Google Lindsay Ellis and just put The Hobbit, it's all there.
Yeah, check those out. They're really good.
Highly recommended, especially episode 3 from an actor's perspective, which is all about how New Zealand and Warner Brothers treated New Zealand actors, which was eye-opening because I never knew any of this at all. So highly recommend that.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's time effort for to produce something. It's one of the reasons I super love I, Tonya, because Margot Robbie's a producer on that, and she turns up and then nails that performance, and she's got an active role as a producer. That's amazing.
That's very tough to do. But I mean, going back to the film, it definitely feels like a children's book because it's all about the imagination, and that's why it's so weird, because you're kind of thrust into a story where it's like colorful and weird characters from somewhere else
without any reference point.
No, not at all.
Completely. Oh, look, it's a man who eats rocks.
I like that though.
Made but from rocks. Is obviously cannibal.
But yeah, 80 was it like 84? Like the all the practical effects and the set design. And
it was
the makeup and everything just stellar.
It was unbelievable.
Really good.
As soon as you enter that world, you're like, wow, it's all there.
Totally into it, yeah.
Especially how they did the stone guy that you're just talking about, which is clearly it's 2 separate shots, and then it's obviously a model, and there's great uses of models and for scale, and even the green screen stuff that is in the film, which is there, is still for an 84 really well done.
Yeah, it is very well done.
Yeah, because usually if it's not well done, you see a green halo on the borders of people. And it's just like
it's so bad. It just turns you off from the whole production. It's a lot weirder than I remember. I do remember though that the horse's death really got to me as a kid.
How did you feel this time?
Not that into it. Just because you don't know the horse, so it's not like they're best friends.
It's not like it talks either. It's a real horse.
Yeah.
Like in the world where there's magical creatures and stuff, and even the bat is hinted to. It doesn't speak, but it's like hinted that it's more than just a bat. I was surprised the horse didn't speak.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Basically, the first time that you see the horse, the narrator is like, and they were traveling around for a week, so you haven't seen that week. So obviously the boy is really fond of his horse, but you haven't been involved in that week-long journey.
Well, he's probably had the horse since he could ride, really, because he's definitely not older than an average horse's lifespan. So he's definitely had that horse his whole life.
Oh, it's his horse?
He's not given the horse. He turns up on the horse.
Oh, I thought he was given the horse.
I think that's how it goes. I might be wrong, but I assumed it's his horse.
Well, I'm pretty sure you have to assume a lot of stuff in those.
Yeah, there's not much. It's totally for kids because there's so much, there's so many plot holes, which is okay because it's kind of cute. It's nice.
And the music. Oh, I wanted to take the lyrics to do a bit of singing, but I forgot. The music is great.
Oh, I mean,
Neverending story. Something like that.
What you see.
It's like being on a hen night or a staff party in December, and they've let's go to the karaoke. It's like, oh god.
Never-ending story karaoke.
Stick on the good, the bad, and they just play standard karaoke playlists. Stick that on it.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
It is quite kitsch as well. It's kind of, oh god, what's happening now?
That's one of the things I really do enjoy about this film is it's specific. It's so specific to what it is, and you can see who it inspires nowadays. I can definitely imagine a Guillermo del Toro watching this sort of film going, oh, this is really good. Or because obviously with Labyrinth, you get a major feel of yeah, that's good. Or even Willow. I don't know if Willow was before this, 84. And then even as far as Lord of the Rings in 99 to 2001, for sure, definitely takes stuff from this sort of design. It's definitely the precursor to a lot of fantasy films that came out after it because it's attention to detail, the set. For example, for the racing snail, which is clearly on a model, so they've made a model what they do with say Aardman, which we will get to one day when we talk about my vault choice of Chicken Run, where it's all built models, and you can see the work they've done to make this work. And yes, you can see it's a model, but as a kid you would totally buy it because it's so well done.
88 Willow.
88, so it came after, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I think also it's kind of problematic and it's probably what's happening nowadays, that everyone wants it to be real. And if you can see that there's a problem, people, I know that wouldn't happen. And it's it's a film. Have we forgotten that, you can be entertained by something that maybe looks a little fake, but it's entertaining. Just kind of suspend your belief a little bit, disbelief a little bit.
I mean, look at Jurassic Park. Compare Jurassic Park compared to Jurassic World, the first one. I hadn't seen the new one yet.
I don't want to see it.
Jurassic Park 1, because it's a mixture of early CGI and practical puppetry, it holds up 25 years later. It's super good. You watch the scene when the T-Rex appears and you're like, wow. And even the scene where Sam Neill and the kids are running away from the Gillimimus in the field, where it's clear that they're CGI, not models. It's still pretty good.
Yeah, because it's about editing, it's about cinematography, it's about all those little things that you forget can make make the whole film, rather than oh yeah, this dinosaur looked great.
Let's throw so much money to make the best looking computer dinosaur, but you forget that because it's a computer, there needs to be the cell of interaction. I think one of the things that works when it's in this film is because there's no this might not be true, but I believe that every animal feature in the film is a practical effect. None of them are digitally created, especially in the 80s, and especially if this is I believe this is German made, right? It has to, because it was produced and then it was picked up by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I think it was
West German.
Yes, West German.
The various studios in Munich.
Right, so it's West Germany made and then picked up by Universal to distribute in the USA. So I think so. So that's definitely, the budget is not big either, is it? It's about 90 million, I read somewhere.
$27 million.
$27 million to make. And how much did it make back?
20 million.
So it made a loss.
It lost 7 million.
It was the director's very first English-speaking film. Actually.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Das Boot
before. It did feel a little bit kind of, I don't know. The script was quite clunky. I mean, I say that with love. I really
yes,
do.
the scene where the very first scene we get, which is after the nothing is explained with the boy at the dinner table, is very difficult going. It's not slick. I don't think with the father. Even so much that I bet Anouk that you didn't remember that scene when you were a kid. You only remember the magical moments of the world.
Yeah.
And they must have had loads of fun on set, because it's always better to act with a puppet than a green
ball on a head.
Ping pong ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they had to really build Falcor. I think there's a photo on Wikipedia where it just shows the actor Noah Hathaway, or like right next to this huge head of a luck dragon, and it's just like, wow, they had to actually build that thing. It's crazy.
And it'll be an animatronic for sure. With
totally.
The eyes, yeah.
But you can tell as well the way that it does it. It is very robotic, and it's kind of moves in a non-human way.
Which
but
works,
it's
even
kind of nice.
That's what works the best as well. Even if it moves in a non-human way, it's robotic. It's like that's foreign enough to the human reactions that it works in the fantasy world. That's
guess
just
so.
the way it totally. You can buy into it.
That's interesting.
There's a thing with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. As the budget slowly decreased, the animatronics for the actual turtles got worse. So in the first movie, when you watch it, it's like, wow, these are really good. And then you get to the third movie where they're traveling through time and fighting samurais in Japan. You're just like, yeah, this is just a rubber suit they're in, isn't it? That's people in a rubber suit. Which, don't get me wrong, rubber suits really work well. I mean, look at Godzilla. And even nowadays, we've got Shin Godzilla, the homage to the early Godzilla movies, which was people in suits. Rubber suits can super work in movies, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but that's really...
when done right, yeah.
These are really tough on the actors, because I don't remember what was the actor who kept passing out because with the sun the suit was just too hot. I read something.
Oh,
recently.
I know that. Yeah.
Oh yes.
God.
Where was that? Was that in Star Wars?
No.
No.
I know there's a thing that Andy Serkis was roasting when he used to wear all the stuff for Gollum. There was that as well.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I know that Rhys Davies, who played John Rhys Davies, who played Gimli, was allergic to the prosthetic they put on his face as well.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. We should look that up. Look that up.
There is in Rogue One, because they filmed in Tahiti or some hot places. They had difficulties, but the specific case I don't really remember.
I mean, the guy in Alien as well. The really tall guy who plays in the first Alien is a suit.
Yeah,
and that's a movement directed piece that the guy moves like an alien. It's amazing. Whereas if they make the recent Alien movies, it's all CGI. Well, I don't know that for definite, but I would imagine most of it is CGI. There might be maybe a case of some suit stuff.
Funny, they made it a point. I don't know the most recent ones, but for The Force Awakens, they made J.J. Abrams made it a point to use mostly practical effects.
Well, I think that's to do with the fact that the prequels at the time were so ill received because of the digital enhancements. I mean, there's an ongoing thing with Star Wars fans about how you can't see episodes 4, 5, and 6 as they originally were because George Lucas made them digital. He added more stuff.
Yeah, that's
You can't see the original prosthetic effects, practical effects only movie. It's all digitally enhanced, and that carried on in the 2000s when they made the new stuff, when they made the prequels. Although the attitude to the prequels now is different, I feel, because it depends who had it. For example, when we were kids and we were fine, and now we look back at the prequels, there are some people that go, you know what, for what they are, they're fine. There are some people that still hate them. It's a very up in the air thing, especially now with Last Jedi being like 50-50. A lot of people not. I think it goes either people really hate it or people don't care. I think that's kind of the line. I don't know anyone that swears by it.
Yeah, you have your diehard fans, and it's always up to the production team before they even start filming or even writing scripts and stuff. Do we go with the fans, diehard fans, or do we go with like a new
vision of it?
Vision of it. And usually it's like half and half because they kind of want, to make their money back. They want to make a profit, and also they don't want to lose their fans because those are the people that will stick by you no matter what.
Well, one of the movies that we decided, I think we collectively decided, even though we never talked about it, not to talk about was the Han Solo movie because we had no interest in seeing it.
Yeah, we had no interest. And it was a massive flop, and I suspect it's because it was released way too soon.
I think it's to do with they lost that. The production of that is very dodgy. I mean, if you look at when Ron Howard was on, he reshot about 80%. It's reported, and then
the two directors were fired.
And there's a whole movement against Kathleen Kennedy, which is the current leader of the Star Wars Lucasfilm's department of Disney, and I mean, YouTube is awash of stuff like that. There's people that come at it from a social justice angle, that there's too much going on to make it concurrent with what the political situation is now. It's some people obviously were around when the first Star Wars came out, and it's not what they imagined their heroes growing up to be. It's just a big mess of, you have so many fans from different eras that want different things. I think
I'm still
and it was a boycott for sure. I mean, people talk. I watched several videos around the time of people going boycott Han Solo because that's the only way Disney will listen to us, and they have. I mean, the schedule for a Star Wars story movies is indefinitely put on hold. They are not proceeding production anymore on any of these like side stories.
Yeah, I'm also unsure why. Again, but it's one small factor. But why? Because before it was when the whole Disney happened, it was kind of a normal like canon story, like normal, and then a Star Wars story, like once a year.
Yeah.
But this we had, the last one was in December. Now June. Which is less than 6 months.
It came out in May. It came out around the same time as Deadpool, for sure. They were like a couple of weeks apart, if that.
It's probably they wanted to salvage the furniture.
Who knows, man?
I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway, this is all relevant because Neverending Story sticks to what it wants to be, and it's not afraid to go on its own like weird angle.
Yeah, especially if the author was kind of, breathing down their collars. Well, that's really not the phrase. What is the phrase?
Breathing down their neck.
Breathing down their necks about, how much he hated and actually wanted filming to stop and kind of.
Was that at the time?
Yeah. Like he I think he tried to even stop filming.
So the second time we've covered a film that's produced in Germany, it's been hated by the original creator.
Prana Films.
Prana Productions with the state of
Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker going after Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And
so
then
they
we've got
don't
this.
actually say anything about the prosthetics in Neverending Story, but of course you have Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour, John Matuzak in The Goonies.
Oh yes,
apparently that took like 5 hours.
Oh, I can imagine.
John Hurt, of course, in The Elephant Man.
Yeah.
And apparently he had to
as John Merrick,
do it like miss a day each time, so do it every other day, like filming, because of the strain of the makeup and the prosthetics.
Elephant Man.
Yeah.
There's an excellent infographic somewhere on the internet, which is a load of iconic monsters. With either, and it tells you if they're either CGI or effects, and they tell you who designs it. It's like almost like the movie poster that some viewers will have seen in the background of some of our other episodes. I will find that for Yann, and it will be linked out when this episode comes out because it's a very interesting picture.
Jennifer Lawrence, it took 8 hours to paint her body for Mystique.
Well, that's interesting they actually painted her, because I could imagine that being a CGI thing.
I think in the beginning,
it
took longer, and then now it's much easier, but it's only cut like 2 hours.
Didn't she say something for the second one that she wasn't going to be painted blue?
Maybe.
I thought I heard her say that to avoid the makeup, that they were just going to do it in CGI afterwards.
Not necessarily in CGI, but I think in the last iterations, it was a part was what was it? Suit.
Right. Okay.
Painted suit.
Okay.
Yes.
But very thin, like skin.
Right. Okay.
It'd have to be really, I'm sure, very expensive paint, because as we know from James Bond,
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger. Goldfinger. You can probably die from asphyxiation.
Did she not get lead poisoning or something?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way he killed people, right? Just spray painted them gold, and then they just die because their pores couldn't breathe.
Yeah. I thought there was a story about that actress got really ill after that.
Yeah, it could be. I wouldn't be surprised. Apparently, as well.
Goldfinger.
Thank you. Tom Hanks says that he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in 2013 because of his dramatic weight fluctuation from Castaway.
Oh man, Castaway.
There's so many things that is so super dangerous, and because money's involved.
Have you guys seen Castaway?
I haven't, but I really do want to. I told you I haven't seen.
I'm gonna stick that in the vault at some point.
I have, and lines were written for Wilson.
Wilson, I'm sorry, Wilson.
I'm really sad that I don't get that reference, but it's like everywhere. Everyone does that.
If you think the death of Atax is traumatic, then the death of Wilson in Castaway was so horrible. It's heartbreaking.
It wasn't traumatic.
Very symbolic though. But anyway,
that's one thing that shocked me, that the message of the Neverending Story was really profound.
Very deep,
and it was a lot more deep than obviously a child can at all realise. Like, the reason why Fantasia is dying is because our imaginations are dying in the human world. And that's why he has this kind of strict father in the beginning, because it's like he's trying to strip him away from his imagination, because daydreaming, and I mean, all of us will probably remember being told off for daydreaming in school. And I mean, of course, I understand it. Like, you have to pay attention in school, stay in school, kids. But you're kind of told off when you use your imagination too much. Like, oh, what a load of nonsense and all that.
Yeah.
So it was so deep.
Well, it's a societal thing that arts are not as valued as much as, earning money. I think me and Anouk had a conversation today even about like the whole idea of like, if you buy something or buy a service to repair, say even you buy a sandwich, you're like, yeah, somebody's made me a sandwich, I'll pay them. But as soon as you get to something creative, like say podcasting or especially music, because music is one of the most highly pirated media out there, people just don't want to pay for creative stuff.
Yeah, but because there is this huge, but it will be exposure, yeah?
I have a friend actually who's a photographer, and she has a lot of these stories of like, oh, please do this gig and it's a great exposure for you. I'll try and get her on at some point. Hopefully, I'll ask her next time I'm back in Dunfermline.
It's like, surely that's up to me to decide what is good exposure and what isn't.
Yeah.
And also, even without being paid, there is also this in-kind concept.
Yeah.
So right. I mean, when I did the little workshop with Sam, he was explaining how to get venues and stuff. If you get you agree to get the sales of one night to the actual venue, or if you do box office for them, or what, there's always ways to do in kind, and nobody feels like they were robbed.
I think we forget as well that like the arts extends from like towards everything, like all these businessmen that want to look sharp, that's art. Like what you wear is art. Every person nearly in the whole of the Western society has a TV. That's art. Like everything that is designed and everything that is like looks pretty and looks creative is art. So we use it all the time, but we just don't, because it's so normalized, and because we live in a capitalist world, it's kind of somehow connected to business and money and kind of production meetings, and actually it's all of it is art. So if we actually realized that and talked about that more, the arts would probably be the most the richest thing I mean, of course, Hollywood, and that's also another thing of like when people think of actors, they immediately think of Hollywood, and they think that we're all paid amazingly. It's like, no.
I think, sadly, the fact that this didn't make any money is probably a godsend to this movie, because it means that it hasn't had a butchered remake. You know, it's like being left alone, and it stands as its own piece of film that you can go back and look at and go, this is really good.
Well, that's the problem. Like, if you make money, then lots of people that actually have no desire in what you are making and no kind of heart in and direction in what you're making, they just want a piece of the pie. And so the individuality and also artistic, creative difference is kind of left out, because they just want to make everyone happy. And they just want everyone to, because they want more money. So that's usually why quite a lot of, you know, big budget movies aren't that creative. And if they are, it's kind of kudos to everyone that was involved. Because
I had a thought the other day when I was in the shower, as you do, because the shower is where you have all your thoughts that you don't even talk about.
Or you sing.
Or you sing, yes.
Or you act.
In the shower, just reciting monologues.
Doing your monologues,
Yeah. Can any of you tell me a Marvel movie that is stuck with you, that you think about on a monthly or weekly basis?
This is probably really controversial, but I have no idea what Marvel has done and what they haven't done.
I was thinking, because we have a friend coming over, so we're going to discuss Black Panther again. I was thinking, I don't remember Black Panther. Like, I can remember bits if I think about it, but it hasn't stayed with me. But that's the case for every single one. And I don't know whether that's because I'm a massive superhero fan or whatever, but I think that's the case. A lot of the case for a lot of modern day movies is they're kind of forgettable.
Is it for the there and now, here and now? Sorry.
As
movies
in, like,
are made for you
moment.
Watching it in the cinema in the moment, and then you leave, and immediately you think that was amazing, and then you forget about it.
Yeah,
but it's not really about
that.
Well,
I think yes, there's a point for that, and it's also like, if a movie doesn't do well, the turnaround for it coming out on DVD, for example, Dark Tower, that bombed in cinema, but it was like, Yann told us it was out in like 8 weeks later. That it was like out on digital download. Sometimes the turnaround is amazing, which makes me think it's like, right, so it's just about, yes, it's here and now. Because there's so many movies getting made now, it's like, here's the spotlight, here's the movie, you haven't seen it, and then you can see it here. It's never about, I've made a movie, please come and watch it.
Infinity War is going, at least in France, at the end of August in physical supports, like Blu-rays and DVDs.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it's still, like, it was released at the end of April, right? So that's not that far.
Yeah, that's
27th.
Yeah.
That's not that far. No, well, I cannot say I had any kind of transformational experience with a Marvel movie. But those are the ones that I put in, that's the ones that are in the vault. And I know that 1996 Hamlet made me want to act. So that's, in a way, that movie is defining parts of my being today. But now that I'm starting to watch movies more on a analyzing level, I mean, I can appreciate, like, I've seen Sicario, which is about the Mexican cartel, right?
Yeah.
One of those defining movies I have is Scarface.
Yeah, 84 or the original of the 30s.
84. Not the Paul Mooney one, but the 33, not this one. And it's, I mean, it was mostly part because Al Pacino was in Scarface, because I have like big phases. If you look at some of my DVD collections, I sort them by actors.
Right, okay.
Nice.
So I have like 25 DVDs with Al Pacino in it.
Does that include Jack and Jill?
No, I stopped around. I stopped really caring that much right around. I think it was like Dog Day Afternoon. No, what was the recent sports, like 10 years ago thing?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Al Pacino was in? Al Pacino was in a sports movie?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember. I think I stopped watching Al Pacino movies 10 years ago.
There's some really good sport movies. I mean, Moneyball is good. It's got Brad Pitt in it. I, Tonya is good. Not by
There's
Yann.
also the football one about Millwall.
Escape to Victory.
Invictus? Oh, no.
No, Invictus is
like
Matt Damon in South Africa.
It's not Green Mile. That's the other one.
Do you mean...
It's really good, and it's really kind of changed my life in certain aspects.
Are you shitting me? A football movie changed your life?
In aspects, yeah. Because it's something that I think about a lot, and
I don't know the name of it.
It's also very human, which I quite liked, because when it comes to like if someone says, "Do you want to watch a football movie?" I'd be like, "No, thank you."
Well, there are. We should do. I did think about how we should do 2 movies because of the World Cup, but by the time they're out, we would miss it. We should have done Escape to Victory, which has got Pele and many another actual famous footballers in it with Michael Caine, and also Early Man, which is an Aardman movie, which is actually a football movie.
Cool.
We'll see. We might get around to.
That's actually. I'm going to find out that the thing of that, but it's a football movie, but it's kind of about hooliganism, because obviously Millwall against someone. Anyway.
Okay. But I mean, sometimes the message is so clear and so impactful that you will. I mean, I haven't have had that in recent memory, but now I clearly appreciate and also helped that it was Denis Villeneuve doing it, and I loved Blade Runner 2049, but Sicario is really excellent.
The first one or the sequel?
The sequel, I still need to probably go see that tonight or tomorrow. Okay. Sicario 2.
All right.
I mean, that's not the same director.
Right, okay.
But the same writer.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah. An actor, by the way. Actor, producer.
I know the guy, yeah.
Green Street.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a football movie.
Alexi Alexander.
Right.
It's about West Ham football.
West Ham. Is West Ham versus Millwall then?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But yeah, it's really well done. I don't know why I'm talking about Green Street though.
That you think about
football. Yeah.
All the time.
It was just something that changed my life, and that's sort of indie. I don't think it had that big a budget, but yeah, sometimes having a big budget it takes away from the creativity. So maybe as much as it probably would have hurt everyone that was involved in the Neverending story, the fact that they lost 7 million, that's a lot.
I think, yeah.
At least they were able to keep their creativity in their story.
I think it also challenges you to find a way to do something without having the funds to do it. You know, like, we have to make this practical because we can't afford to make it digital.
I guess so. Even though having $20 million is quite a big budget.
Well, we'd have to work out what that is we'd have to work out what that is with inflation from 84.
84, that's so true. Yeah, I'm not sure, but it seems like quite a lot, quite a big budget to have. So, and they made quite a lot of it back, if not.
I mean, what costs a lot these days is CGI, right? Because of the sheer amount of people you have to pay.
Oh, yeah.
So true.
Or marketing. It depends if they add marketing into the budget.
Yeah.
Which some people do. It makes sense to do that.
Especially if, the story doesn't sell itself. Like, some stories are kind of strange and
if it's not
weird,
a known
and
brand.
I think Neverending Story probably would have had that problem where it's like, maybe that's why they lost money. Because the author wasn't into it, that probably kind of cut things down. And also because it's quite strange and it's quite childish in a way, that maybe that also didn't help.
Also, we don't, in the 80s, there's no such thing as like a press junket. Like the world that we live in now, where you see videos of the stars talking about the movie for about 4 months, on and on and on, didn't really exist back in the 80s.
Yeah, that's travel, and I think that's half the budget. So you've got, so let's say you've got a movie that costs 200 million. You take half of that and you add it. So that's 100 million on top for the marketing.
Oof, that's really, wow. That's
and you have
expensive.
to sell those tickets, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
like it doesn't help, and it doesn't help you if even the studio knows that the film isn't that great and they're still going to market it.
Well, it's especially when you've got the actors and on the press junket that obviously hate the movie, and it's like Twilight boy, what's his name?
Patterson.
Robert
Patterson obviously was not enjoying his character and film, so it was quite funny to watch.
Do you want a funny anecdote about Twilight? You know, the writer, when they were casting that film, she had
Stephanie Meyer.
She had Henry Cavill in mind for the part of whatever the Henry Cavill was meant to be whatever the character's name is.
I would have preferred that. See, this is the problem. There are so many minds and stuff going on when you're kind of...
But the studio probably went, get that cute boy that was in Harry Potter.
Yeah, that will put bums on seats, to be fair.
Yeah.
Cedric Diggory.
Cedric Diggory. Yeah, so totally nostalgic, that film, mostly.
Was there anything that stood out to you watching it again as an adult, as a creative as well?
I think the prosthetics and also world building was really good. Like, I was totally enveloped in the world and it felt real. So that's a big kudos, I think.
I like how obviously the attic set is lived on in so many films. I mean, like me and Anouk were trying to think of films that use the idea of like the boy in the attic on his own reading a book. The big one you would go for in the 80s is Jumanji, which we talked about, the follow-up to it. But with them in the attic, I thought of Goosebumps as well. And there was also another, I think it's called The Chronicle of Webb or something like that. It's really weird. They tried to make them and it didn't really take off.
Is that the cultural thing here, Goosebumps? Because I've seen...
in America,
I've seen a Jack Black movie, and it's like about stuff coming out of books, right?
Goosebumps were a series of kids' books, but I didn't read them. I don't know if they were big over here. I know they're quite big in America.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they were very big.
It was like Horrible Histories.
Well, Horrible Histories was about actual events. Goosebumps were fiction.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of like it starts with children reading a book and then the characters become real. It's a little bit connected.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if does anyone else have anything to add?
No, I'll just make sure, because I talked about that once. I didn't want to spoil it, so we'll probably need to watch that before we record the next episode. I talked about the Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, right.
2 amazing episodes, one related to Shakespeare. And I've watched them like a few weeks ago again, and it's just tremendous work.
Okay.
It's like, and it's half an hour or something. It's like, he's so smart, so smart. It's like an anthology, like the very first anthology kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right.
That sounds great.
That sounds really good. I've got a story to tell if we're wrapping with the actual never-ending story part of the episode.
Rating?
No, well, before...
Afterward?
Yeah, afterwards, yeah. So, there's a trailer out for a movie I auditioned for.
Yes.
Last year, I got the chance to self-tape for a movie. I won't discuss the title of that at the time, but it now came out with a trailer for it, and I watched the trailer and I went, that's who I auditioned for. And it looks great. It's got Joe, it's not Joe Swash, Joe Simon? I can't remember. One of the in-betweeners. God, what's his name? Joe Armstrong, isn't it?
Yeah, he plays...
Or Joe Thomas. No, it's Joe Thomas,
Doesn't he play Simon in the in-betweeners?
Yeah,
that's his name?
It's Simon in In-Betweeners. And Bernie from Love, the Netflix series, is also in it.
Oh, she's adorable. The Australian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Claudia O'Doherty.
Yeah.
She's
the film is called The Festival, and I believe the part I read for is Simon from In-Betweeners' best friend. I believe that's me. I don't know. It might not be, because it might have changed, because the title has changed from what I when I read it. It's now called The Festival. But it looks pretty similar to what the idea was when I auditioned. So that was a very interesting experience, actually, watching something that you auditioned for, going, okay. I'm still excited to see it. I'm not bitter about it. I mean, obviously choices are made because it works for the movie, and I even think that it kind of maybe changed direction once they got certain talents involved. Like if you get the guy from the In-Betweeners, like we've got, okay, let's get some like bigger names. So you never know. But no, that was an interesting experience to watch a trailer for something that you auditioned for.
Yeah, very cool.
It was cool though. It was nice to see that it actually got made, because I was like, oh, maybe the project fell through, but no, it's coming out. It's out in August over here anyway, in England, UK, and I don't know about America, but maybe. Who knows? I'll keep everyone up to date when it comes out. Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we won't. Depends on the movie.
Let's do it. Very cool.
Yeah, I didn't talk about my Blade Runner experience, did I, on air?
No, not yet.
No.
So there is this thing called Secret Cinema. They just did. They just celebrated their 10th anniversary. So usually it was mainly in London, and it was secret. So you would go online and get tickets and never know where it was. And up until a few days before, and it was not that expensive. Now they've launched what they call Secret Cinema Presents.
Right, okay.
So it's way bigger, and it's you've got VIP tickets, so it's more expensive depending on what you take, depending on what you choose. I went to see Blade Runner. That was last month, and it was nice. The thing is, so the idea is they bring you into the world of the film they're doing. So there was the Chinatown with the rain, and you were eating noodles, and you had missions and to chase the replicants and and that kind of stuff, and trade photo memories, and try to I was an undercover agent, and I was promoted to Blade Runner at the end.
All right, okay.
Which was quite cool. Yeah, I was in a group of 2 or 3, which was quite nice. And well, the only thing I regret a bit is not watching the film before, like a few weeks before, because so at the end of all the experience, when you get to, well, it's basically the kind of thing that you get back what you put in. So if you just stay in a corner and enjoy what's happening, you won't be involved in investigating or whatever. But I did a bit, not the full thing, but I participated a bit.
Cool.
And at the end of that, you've got the screening. Obviously, that's the main event. And it was 2 huge screens with a film, and between the 2 there were some like scaffoldings, where actors could interact, and also just in front. But as I didn't see the movie a bit before, I was actually, at that time when the screening happened, focused on the screens. So I must have missed like 40% of what the actors were doing in the... Yeah, because those mediums are so not really mixing well. If it's... it's a medium. The media are so different, like theater and stage and screen.
Too much stimulus.
Well, me and Anouk, we saw a German production of Ibsen's Miss Julie.
That's not Ibsen. Steinberg.
That's how it's pronounced.
I'm absolutely sure it's Ibsen.
It's not Ibsen. Oh, it might be.
Ibsen? Yeah, I think it is.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
It's one of the 2.
It's not Ibsen. It's like...
It's Strindberg.
Oh.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
And you pronounce it Strindberg or something.
Hang on.
Strindberg.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Strindberg. It was Miss Julie by Strindberg. Yann, edit that so it looks like I got it right in the first place. And then it's like, no, it's not.
No.
Ah, bollocks. No, we saw that, and it was like they had the Foley at the side of the stage, and they were filming it. It was like the production was a movie. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
You were watching the actors being filmed, and you had the people walking on gravel, like they had little like boxes of gravel.
Wearing 2 different.
When she was walking on like towards the house, you could hear her footsteps, and all this kind of. So you're watching them being filmed.
The Foley made live.
The Foley was on the side of the stage,
and everything felt, so lighting and them sorting cables out and all this stuff.
They had a scale double for her as well, so that they could use her for close-ups. They had another actress that was the close-ups for the Miss Julie. Well, it wasn't even Miss Julie actually. It was about the side character of the maid, which is the partner at the time of the guy that Miss Julie falls in love with.
And how she's kind of left behind, and no one thinks about her, and she's kind of really, really depressed about it. But anyway, the only way that we were able to really enjoy it was because we'd kind of studied Miss Julie before, and so we really knew
what was going on,
and in that way we enjoyed it. But if I didn't know the story and if I hadn't seen it before, I might have been so overwhelmed. So that's so much going on.
That's the same that what Yann means is you need to know that story so well. Be like, I if they're listening, which I know they are, please do an Alien one. Got to do Secret Cinema Presents Alien, building the Nostromo and having the flickering lights and that sort of thing. That can be easily done. That'd
be amazing.
Stick it in a warehouse, done. It's easy to do. When have an alien, have one alien, not many, just have one, so that it's more nerve-wracking if it turns up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that would be incredible.
They had, from the outside, you could see the World Terminus building with massive letters. Wow. So it's not I don't know what the building is usually, but the World Terminus is a thing. It's a thing from that universe.
Wow,
so it was it's funny because I was worried I was going to be a bit late, so I was right on time almost.
Mm-hmm.
And from the subway station, which is probably a 5-minute walk, looking at the buildings around, I actually saw the World Terminus sign, so I knew right away where I had to go. So I was like, that's quite impressive.
That's great. Very cool.
That's super good.
But they did the Star Wars, they did the Back to the Future. I
can you imagine building Hill Valley? That'd be great.
Yeah, they did. I think they did an Avatar one at some point.
Their next one is Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, which will be it'll be the ballroom for sure. It'll be the where they meet. It has to be
with the masks.
Yeah, and the balcony sort of stuff. It'll be great.
The whole of August, and those. It's so the VIP ticket was around 120.
That's actually not bad for what you're describing.
No, that's okay.
But I think when you're VIP, you get directed towards more exciting stuff. I suspect because there are VIP areas.
Right.
And in terms of what happens really on site, if you get directed to some lieutenant office and lieutenant office, and I suspect that was for VIP. I'm not entirely sure, but they interacted in a way which made it nice.
Very cool.
That's what I wanted to say. Those special theater experience, like Somni I talked in the previous episode, or something I heard very recently, which is quite ballsy, micro theater.
Right.
Okay.
So basically you go to people's homes and you perform a play for a family or 2 people.
Oh, excellent.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I've heard that happen. I mean, when Mark toured Blackbird, I believe it was. They might not have been them, but I know somebody that toured a show and they had 3 people there, so they just took it and did it in their front room for their family.
That's very cool, actually. That's kind of intimate and nice. Yeah. I love how everyone's experimenting with theatre, though. I think it's so cool.
We actually had that idea at one point. I'm sure I had an idea at one point. It's like, why don't we? Because we had a massive living room in our old flat. I was like, we could easily put something on here and do something with this room.
Yeah. I'd love to do that. Obviously it just takes a lot. And also, I'm not sure how legal it is if your landlord doesn't know, because you're making money off of something that is theirs. So there's kind of landlord agreements and stuff that you probably have to talk about.
It's all a big
palaver.
There's so much red tape to get stuff done sometimes.
It's like in the subletting territory, kind of.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
God. But all that conversation is entirely irrelevant because this Neverending story was all about world building. So it's all relevant.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that in the theatre.
And I mean that it's, well, we talked about how it's inspired so many other fantasy things. I mean, it super holds up. I really enjoyed it.
There are definite scenes where you were like, oh, actually they used that in that film, and oh, I've seen that before, and so it's definitely an inspirational film.
So it may be re-released, because these days you get all those Cineworld classics.
I wouldn't surprise me that.
I think it's a classic.
I saw Easy Rider for the first time ever yesterday night.
Wow. Okay.
At Cineworld, and Predator. Well, it was not the first time, but on a screen for sure. 6 months ago, and you get all those.
We just missed the. It was 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Which was released everywhere. Actually, it was a 70. Was it 70 years? No, it can't have been 50 years probably. Anniversary of it, which is like, wow, okay, that's cool. Yeah, because it was a 70s movie. So the rating is different on this one, because we're looking in the vault. Anouk, is this staying in the vault?
Yes, for sure. It's definitely like nostalgic though. I'm not sure how I'd feel just watching it like the other day, how I'd think about it, but it's like, I think it's very good and staying in the vault, but I would also say nostalgic, inspirational.
Okay, so that is staying in the vault.
Cool.
There we go.
Cool. I have a question for you guys. So it will probably make more sense for people watching the episode, but behind us on the wall, so right now we have what is called a display, which is a metallic poster. So what do you reckon, how many do you reckon we should put, and how high we should put those? Because I have in my room, I have all the black and white that I've posted pictures of, but I still have some resembling like these ones, and I also plan that the one on the wall is Baby Driver right now. Well, not exactly on the wall, because I was waiting on your opinion before stucking that magnet on the wall, or whether or not we put 2 or 3.
For back there.
Yeah, what does our audience think? I think they should.
We'll stick it on Instagram. We'll do an Instagram poll.
Yeah.
For that as well, but I think you could get like 3 maybe between between the candle holders. Right now.
I mean, it depends on what kind of look would be good, because sometimes it's nice if you like really crowd them in and like make it really busy, or is it nice to only have like 2 or 3? Like,
yeah, I mean, I went full crowded in my bedroom. It's just like it's a bit. Yeah, I didn't remember that my brother had one. He has the Interceptor V8 Max, because they do. There is a series on that website where it's just in the background. It's like a kind of a drawing. In the background, the car, and the foreground, the actual character.
I know this company. Yeah. I know this, yeah.
I did not do any unboxing because I was annoyed by their voucher policy, and I didn't unbox the Last Exit to Nowhere either, because it's supposed to be discreet nerd apparel, so it would defeat the purpose to actually unbox that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually wearing a Punxsutawney Phil t-shirt.
I'm very jealous of the Yann's got a Nostromo beanie. I'm very jealous of.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I kind of want one of the caps that what's his face wears. He just recently passed away as well.
Yes.
He gets killed. He's the first off because he thinks it's the cat, and then I can't remember his name.
Yes.
Yeah. We talked about him actually in the episode.
What is his name? I hate this when it happens. It's Parker. No, it's not Parker in the film, is it? Is it Parker?
Harry Dean
Stanton. Yeah. He's got a baseball cap with a Nostromo with the logo, so I quite like to get my hands on that. But yeah. Okay. Well, I think this was the first entry into the vault.
Yes.
And the film is staying in the vault.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. So I think actually we are good.
Yeah, I think
let's
so
wrap
too.
up. All right. Thanks, guys.
Nice to be back. Nice to be back.
Nice to be back. New setting. Summer setting.
New setting, yes. So warm here. Oh my gosh.
What should we say? Because I'll try to actually have this out tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Because to have, during the weekend, but to make sure we have one for that week. Extended week. So what do you reckon should be our next one? As I said, I don't remember I told you, I really would like either to do a double bill of Sicario or just the first one if the second one is just crap.
Right, okay.
Because the first one is really something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do have, because me and Yann have both played extensively. We could discuss Detroit become human.
Yeah, that's
a very valid option.
I also think that I need to go back to doing that one film a day thing because I need to start watching films. Okay. I haven't seen any.
I think Detroit would be the easiest to get around because we've played it so much. I know that story like the back of my hand now. I think that would be the easiest one to discuss next. Whether that episode comes out, I do not know because we might run out of things to say with that pretty quickly. Who knows?
Well, I know that yesterday I went to watch 4 movies. Actually, I watched Sicario here in the morning in the house. Then I went to see The First Purge.
Oh God!
Which is quite. I liked the first 3 movies, so I said, I haven't seen any in the theater, so let's go.
Yeah.
It was not a good idea. So luckily, I had what was it afterwards? Hereditary. Yes, which was interesting, divisive. A few things to say about it. We should probably do an episode on this one.
Yeah, I do want to see it.
Cool.
It's been penned. It's been said that this is the new Exorcist. So whether it is or
I doubt that.
It's not that far off till Ghost Story comes out, right? Is it this month or next month we get the digitals out?
Next month.
Next month, okay.
Yeah, and it's been postponed a few, so that's like mid-August.
I definitely want to discuss both Ghostbusters at some point.
Yeah.
As well. So
let's do that.
The new what?
Both the first one and the new one.
Yeah, it's anytime we have some time free because we've seen both. And it's funny because the second one is universally hated, but I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Ghostbusters 2, yeah.
But it's a cousin's family thing.
Right.
More than, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll dig through what we've got here and then get back to you and we'll hear the new episodes. We will come back pretty hard this coming month. We'll get a few done to make up for June. So yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye guys.
Bye now.
Bye.